And what's up, everybody? I'm back with another video, and today we're talking about video games, but it is not a video game review. As you guys could see over my last few game reviews, though, mixed in with a bunch of other stuff, I played through the first 4 Crash Bandicoot games, or at least 4 of them. At least the first 3, and then of course Wrath of Cortex. And I came to a big realization pretty early on while playing these, but I wanted to give it a chance while playing all of them before I made this video, because I wanted to try and figure out the reason why it failed. Because I do call this game series a fail. The reason why I do is not necessarily because of bad sales, or because of it was just a bad game, people didn't like it. It's because of its goal. Its goal was to dethrone Mario. When the first Crash Bandicoot game came out in 1996, that was the same year that Super Mario 64 came out. The PlayStation, the system that carried Crash Bandicoot games, came out the year prior to the N64, which came out the same with Mario 64. So the whole premise at the time of that gaming era was 3D gaming, and like getting into full-blown 3-dimensional gaming. And this was seen as the times for PlayStation to come along and show off how it could do real-time 3D graphics, and create nice environments to play their games in, and do their awesome stuff. And do it better than Nintendo could with the N64 and Mario 64. And it was trying to directly compete with Mario and try to dethrone Mario. Looking back now, well, about 17 years later, 27 years later, wow, with it getting more games and also more Mario games coming out, it didn't work. Mario won that battle full-handedly, and that was shown to really be the case when the Insane Trilogy remake, and now the next new Crash game that just came out, or just recently came out a few months ago, on the Switch. It's original competing system. So where did it go wrong? What happened? How did they get to this point? How did it fail? How could have it not failed? Could it have not failed? Let's see. First off, where did it go wrong? How did it? Could this have worked? And the answer is no. Not in the same mindset that they had this to be. Because come to realize that these games are pretty good, actually. They're not horrible. The first game sucks. Wrath of Cortex definitely is not my favorite, by far. The second and third Crash games, though, I actually kind of enjoyed. But its whole premise of trying to dethrone Mario, dethrone Nintendo, be the next Mario, be bigger than Mario, do all this, that was not the mentality that they should have had. They should have tried to make Crash Bandicoot its own identity, not be the anti-Mario, not be the new Mario. Okay, because that mentality, I think, is one of the direct reasons why this game series failed. Is because it was supposed to dethrone Mario, it was supposed to do all this stuff. But, people who had been, liking Mario, been attached to Mario, for that point have been about 11 years. Who are they to say, oh, this is going to be a big series that's going to dethrone Mario? Talking out of their ass. Call it this. We're just going to keep playing Mario. It brings a bad rap, a bad taste to the start of the era here. If they had if they marketed it as its own thing, not even mentioned Mario, made it a headliner thing for the PlayStation, I think it could have succeeded in its own right. And to some people's eyes, it maybe did succeed. I mean, it got sequel games, it got a bunch of new games, it got a remastered version. People are still talking about it to this day. There's lots of people who played it. But like I said, it did not fulfill its goal. And that's why I think it's a fail. Just like another reason, its main ideology, its main mindset was the wrong thing to go with. What else was wrong with this? I think how they made the games was not the way to go if they were trying to dethrone Mario. They were supposed to, Mario games are very well known, and I don't know if I've reviewed the Mario Bros games yet. I have a plan for those. There's not going to be individual reviews for them. They're going to be, or at least I'm not going to do individual reviews of them. Probably, I got a plan for those. I don't know if those have been out yet. The time of this going up, but because it's going to get switched around. Okay, but basically, the Mario Bros games, what their premise is that they are fun, only fun. There is a story. It's a very bare bones story, and it's very similar between all the games. There is, but it's fun. You can play with friends, you can play with family. It's very simple, easy to figure out. There's cool stuff to do. Long enough of a game, but not super long. And it's just a fun little game to play. Crash Bandicoot, on the other hand, I feel like is for more hardcore gamers. Kids definitely could play it. It's definitely marketed in that way. It's not like graphically, color-wise, or anything like that directed only towards adults. It's definitely not got the M rating here, okay. But its style of gameplay, how complex it is, how technical it is, how precise you need to be in a lot of your movements and attacks, the way that it's marketed, the way that it's driven home in that aspect, makes it more for older gamers. Kids could play it, kids could figure it out, but for a casual gamer, given what they see with Mario Bros. And what they see with Crash Bandicoot, they're probably going to pick Mario Bros. Because it's easier to figure out, okay? It's easier to learn. There's more recognizability. And overall, they're just going to be a little bit more drawn to it. And that's why also, I think people... Also, brand recognition is on a thing. People might want to pick up an N64 and play Mario 64 instead of picking up a PlayStation and playing Crash Bandicoot. Because the new... It's also... Okay, now the PlayStation beat the N64 to a pulp in sales. Okay, I can't say that. But, I did. I did say that. I can't say that didn't happen. But I don't think many people picked up a PlayStation to play Crash Bandicoot. I think people picked up Crash Bandicoot because they already had a PlayStation that could do other stuff and just said, oh, this looks fun, let's try it out. Gave it a couple of tries, said, what the fuck is this? And put it away in storage or sold it back to the market or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, and then could this have been avoided? I don't think so. I don't really think this series I think it could have done better. Honestly, I really do. I think it could have done a lot worse as well. Definitely wasn't a complete, utter, total failure. But it was definitely not up to the expectations. But like I said, if they had not marketed as the direct competitor to Mario, I think they would have sold more games, or at least had a better growth of a fan base. They might have not seen as much initial sales, and whether that would have stimulated any possible growth for the next games to be determined. Maybe they wouldn't have came out back to back years, but maybe they would have came out. One would have came out another year and a half or so down the line. Another one came out a little bit quicker than that because they would have a little quicker sales, and then you get to the yearly basis sort of stuff, or not. I don't know. That's really hard to determine as somebody who's not an expert in that field. But I think going down that route would have given them a lot more long-term growth. They kind of didn't get a lot of that growth after the first few years. And that kind of sucks. I think the series did have quite a little bit of potential. But their main flaw was... Okay, so to recap, their main flaw was... They tried to compete with the big boys when they had no base ground to start with. That's like a new startup company trying to dethrone like Amazon or Apple. They're going to be a failure right out of the box because they're not that's just too big of that's too big of a goal to hit right away. It's a good end goal, but not like just starting out day one. And also they didn't make it like they made it directed toward... The gameplay is directed more towards hardcore gamers and how technical it is. And it kind of drove people away because of that. It gave bad impressions to start. And that's why the Crash Bandicoot series failed. But now, I'm going to leave it up to you guys. What do you guys think? Was Crash Bandicoot a failure? If so, how did it fail? Could it have not failed? Why did it fail? And yeah, I'd like to know your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. So that's gonna do it for this gaming video. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.